My wife is raising our son to believe he's her father come back. When I told her to stop, she said I was jealous of a dead man. Her father Emmerich died when she was 23. Heart attack in a driveway, no warning. She's kept his watch in a dish on our dresser 11 years and I've never once suggested she move it. Our son Auden was born 3 years ago on the 9th of October, Emmerich's birthday. Marisol went completely still when the nurse said the date. I thought it was the exhaustion. Then she looked at Auden a long time and said, "There you are." I told myself it was 30 hours of labor talking. It started small. She had a flannel shirt cut down to fit a 2-year-old because there's a photo of Emmerich in one just like it. She pulled his old shortwave radio out of her mother's basement and set it in the nursery. Sentimental, she said, and I let it go because it was. Then it stopped being sentimental. She signed Auden up for a Saturday music program because Emmerich played fiddle. She talked about holding him back a year so he'd be oldest in his class, the way her father was. She wanted to move to the town Emmerich grew up in, and when I asked why, she said Auden should be near where he's from. I chalked it up to grief. Her mother died in February and she hadn't been right since. Then last Wednesday I got off a job site early and came in through the side door. She was on the playroom floor with him in this soft, sing-song voice, and she wasn't using his name. "Who's my Emmerich?" Auden said. "I, Auden," and she took his face in both hands, gently, and said, "No, baby, you're Emmerich. You found your way back to me." She made him say it 4 times. I counted from the hallway. Then she looked up and saw me and smiled like I'd caught her folding laundry. She said the soul remembers even when the mind doesn't, and that he'd get there. That night after she fell asleep, I opened her laptop. Her order history goes back to Auden's 2nd birthday. Replica clothing matched to old photographs. A canvas print of Emmerich at 6 with Auden's face blended into it. A brass pocket knife engraved Emmerich with a birth year that is not my son's, and a downloaded petition for a legal name change, filled out, unsigned. I woke her up and said we needed to see somebody, a grief counselor, her doctor, anybody. She started crying and said I didn't understand, that she'd prayed for 11 years, that she'd been given something back, and I was the only person standing in the way of it. Her sister called me at 7 the next morning. She told me Marisol had explained everything and that I needed to be more supportive. When I tried to describe what I'd walked in on, she cut me off and said Auden is a happy little boy, that plenty of families name children after someone, and that I was being cruel to a woman who lost her father and her mother inside a decade. That's when it landed on me that they all knew. Her sister, her aunt, her cousin. We'd moved back to her hometown 2 years ago so she'd have support. My family is 5 hours away. Friday I found her at the kitchen table with preschool forms. Child's name, Emmerich. Under other names the child may respond to, she'd written Auden. I put my hand flat on the page and told her this was finished. She stood up and everything about her changed. The crying shut off like a valve. Her voice went level and almost pleasant. She said she'd already talked to an attorney. She said courts favor mothers, especially when the father works out of town 4 days a week and the mother has her entire family in the county. I asked if that was a threat. She said she was explaining how it would go. I looked at Auden pushing a truck across the floor completely unaware. I said I needed air and went out to my truck. I didn't go back inside. I drove 5 hours to my sister's and told her all of it before I got my boots off. My sister's been a licensed child and family therapist for 17 years. She didn't let me finish. She said document everything, get an attorney Monday, and that what I was describing has a name and it does real damage to a kid. We drove back the next morning. I picked up Auden and his things while Marisol was at her sister's, and I texted her that he'd be with me and we'd handle the rest through lawyers. She sent back one line: "He'll grow up without a mother, and that's on you." Her family hasn't stopped calling. Her sister says I'm controlling. Her aunt sent me a photo of Emmerich. I'm in a family law waiting room right now trying to figure out how to say this out loud to a stranger in a suit. My wife is teaching our 3-year-old that he's somebody else. That's the sentence. That's my life.